Hi and good afternoon. My name is Angela, and welcome to Real Conversations. I'm your host, Angela, as I said. This is part 2, talking about free will relationship. About a month ago, I came on with part 1, and it was based on a clip that I received. Actually, I will be honest, it wasn't from a friend, it was from my husband who sent me that clip. And I put it out there, not just for myself, but to help, other people that is in relationship that might be going through. So based on that video clip, a little trailer, I would say that I put out there. Again, that was part 1 called Free Will. But now this is part 2 of Free Will relationship. Coming to you today, again, to continue part 2. And the title of this one, even though it's Free Will Part 2 in a relationship, I asked the question, what would you do if this was you? Again, the question is, what would you do if this was you? I would like everyone, if this is your first time watching me, if you're interested in this hot topic, please chime in with your comments. Again, this is about broken relationship. Also, please follow me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Again, if you're interested, chime in and let me know if you're interested. So whenever I come on, you will be notified if you ring the bell and connect if you're on YouTube. I also would like, just more of, if you're interested in this kind of teaching, please let me know. I'm sorry, I have my paper in my hand because I wrote a lot of information down, and I just have to read. I want to put it out there. I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed about none of what I'm going to say. But you out there that are struggling in your relationship, that are suffering abuse in your relationship, the enemy thought he could stop me because I know what God put in my heart to do, and it's to help single individuals that are single, couples, and those who are single out there planning or have in their heart to go into relationship. Again, it's not easy going into any relationship. Again, as a Christian, I know I had to pray. But again, I'm not in any means perfect. I make mistakes too, or I hear wrong, or sometimes God do send the right person in your life. But if they are not ready and submissive to go into that relationship, they will mess up because they are human. If their mindset is still on the past of old relationship, past relationship baggages in the past that didn't work, and they bring it over to the new relationship, then you have no control over that. It's them who have a problem and need to get counseling and get help. I myself, as I said, I'm not perfect, but I didn't bring my past baggages. I know what they were, and I didn't bring my past baggages in the relationship. I never bring it up or talk about it. or any of that, because I know it's not fair, it's not right to the next person that you're in the relationship with, to blame them for past things that other people have done to you. So with that said, again, as I said, follow me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Right now, as I said, I'm reading from my paper because I have quite a bit. As I said, I once was in a relationship similar to the clip that you would see on Facebook or YouTube with a couple. I guess they're boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're fighting. The woman is throwing out the man, saying he's no good because love wasn't enough, and to her it seemed like money was the main object. Again, as I said, I was in a similar relationship, and it was because to me it seems like money was the priority and love wasn't priority. Of course, I know money makes the world go round, but it shouldn't be money that is the priority in a relationship. Communication and working together to make everything come in unison is important. Again, money shouldn't be the priority. I was told in my relationship at that time to get out, to leave, because I wasn't making enough money at the time. I was struggling. I did find a job, but due to circumstances, one after another, just problems, over and over problems. As I said, I was told to get out after a series of events and arguments, because my husband at the time wanted control. And when I didn't do what he asked me to do, he became very angry and rage. Then it was like 2 events that led up to the demise of the marriage relationship. After many attempts of counseling, I was open and willing to put all I could put in the relationship. But again, like I stated in previous recordings, that one person cannot make a relationship work. It takes 2 persons to make it work. It takes 100 from one and 100 from the other. Again, after many attempts and counseling, basically I didn't give up, but I was still trying, but because he wasn't willing to put in his portion of what he needs to put in, of course the relationship started dying out. First and second and final events. The first events was during my birthday. It was on my birthday. He was angry because he was trying to force me to go to an event that they had at the church. And because I didn't go, I told him it was my birthday weekend. I would love to relax and just enjoy the weekend. Of course, we had made arrangements to go out for the weekend, and because I refused to go to that event, he canceled the reservation and claimed that he didn't have any money. Mind you now, where we were planning to go was a free event. It was free for us to get in and just enjoy relaxation of music that I love, which is jazz. And he refused. He canceled the reservation on that and said he didn't want to be bothered because, again, he was angry and couldn't have control of me to do what he wanted me to do. After that, as I said, I did respect him enough. Before I left, I told him I was going out to enjoy the event because it was my birthday. As I said, I gave him that much respect. I went out, I stayed for 2 hours. I came back home. When I came back home, as I said, I respect him enough to tell him that I was back home. He was still upset, evidently. I said, well, I'm back home, and I was gonna kiss him goodnight. He got into a rage. He stood up like the demon that was in him and threw me against the wall and injured my back. It became very nasty. I tried to hit him. I believe I did slap him or so. I can't quite remember because things happened so fast, and he ran out the room and ran out the door. And that was on the weekend. The following weekend, he had some woman at the church. After us being in the church all day, one of his friends and buddy that he say he usher with at the church, because he's a usher. He usher with this person at the church. He had that woman's number and had her call on a Sunday night after we all at the church saw this person during the day at the church, and if she needed anything, to respect me enough to be able to talk to him if she needed help with something. He then let that woman call at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, which I wasn't going to agree with. This, to me, is total disrespect in a marriage. You don't have a woman or even a man call your house if you're in a relationship, a marriage relationship. So anyway, he allowed this woman to call after 8 o'clock at night while we should be relaxing and enjoying each other's company and time. I asked him about why this woman is calling at this time. He told me to shut up. He told me it's none of my business what this woman wanted, and that he will not tell me why this woman was calling, but she was calling him for him to come over our house to take care of some work for her. So he got angry, walked out of our bedroom and went to the extra bedroom that we have in the home, and was on his phone texting or whatever he was doing. I was asking him again what was the reason why she was calling, and he told me to shut up again, and he will not tell me the purpose of the call. I was so angry and hurt because of this. I was tired. I was tired of him pushing me away and saying the things that he was saying. One event went to another. I end up with a breakdown, a nervous breakdown, and I just wanted to end it all, as I stated. Not ashamed. As I said, wanted to end it all. So, of course, he had to call the police, and they Baker acted me because of that. After that event, I came back home. Again, he was pushing me out and telling me to get out and lock the door. I had to call the police for him to open the door to let me in my own house. Of course, before we were married, this was his apartment and I moved in. So now I'm being forced out. Everything seems okay, it was continue going on and on, where now he decided, because he wanted me out and I wouldn't get out, I end up going to the police department because, again, he's verbally abusing me. And this is part of domestic violence. He was verbally abusing me, and due to the physical abuse, where I told you before he threw me up against the wall and injured my back, I went to work, and on the job he was calling me, harassing me and telling me to get out, hung up the phone on me twice. The next time, because I didn't answer the phone, he texted and tell me to get my shit, and to get out of the house, to leave. This was a Thursday night. This was just enough to break the camel's back. I went to the police department, told them about what he was doing to me, the verbal abuse, harassing me, telling me to get out, and I couldn't take it anymore. So as you could see, he was doing this to push me further. He was pushing me further to suicide, because he was just trying to take over, trying to control, trying to do what he can to push me out of the house. Again, as I stated, I went to the police department and told them what he was trying to do. I told them about what he did on my birthday, throwing me up against the wall. Okay, they asked me for his phone number. I gave them the phone number. Then after that, they called him and talked to him. Next thing you know, the police was saying to me, why am I complaining and reporting this? And it's about 2 weeks after or so. I said I didn't want to get the man into trouble. We were trying to work it out. We were getting counseling. And he said, well, based on what he said, trying to kiss my own husband against his will that night when I came home. The police officer said, that's considered battery. Kissing your own husband goodnight was considered battery. And he locked me up. I was locked up for 13 days for no reason other than kissing my husband goodnight and trying to make up the relationship. 13 days in jail. At that time, I had just started the new job that week. Of course, I ended up losing my job. And of course, after the case went to court, they threw it out. The case was thrown out. The state attorney didn't see any purpose for me to be locked up or continue being locked up or charges against me, because I didn't hit the man. I didn't hit him. It was a kiss. And they said battery, forcing someone against their will, even a kiss, is considered battery. That's battery. So ladies, I'm telling you, be careful. Be careful. Even for the men as well. Be careful if your wife says no regarding a kiss or wanting to make love or having sex, whatever you may call it. Be careful. If they say no, be careful, because if they get angry, they could call the police, and this is considered battery and domestic violence. So to continue with my story, it was thrown out of court. I was released. I went home. He filed an injunction against me, which is a false eviction. This was what he was trying to do to get me out of the house. So again, a false eviction. He filed the injunction, changed the lock on the door, and I had to call the police officer. Actually, I tried to enter the door because I didn't know. I remember receiving the paper while I was locked up, and the officers wouldn't allow me to go to court. They said it was canceled or the date was changed, and so I couldn't go. So I thought, when I was released, I spoke with them. They said maybe it was canceled, but go home anyway. I went home, and again, I tried to open the door. He said to me, "Where you think you're going? Didn't you get served the papers? And I filed a big injunction against you. You can't come here. You don't live here." Anyway, I felt it in my spirit, and I called an officer to tell him ahead of time that I felt like he was gonna start acting up if the injunction wasn't overturned. So when I entered the door, tried to go in, that's when I hear him talking, and I stop and I called the officer, and he came over right away, and he was calling the police as well to come, because if you have an injunction against you and you break it, you will get locked up. So because, as I said, I didn't know that it went through, and I was talking to this officer previously, they didn't lock me up again. So anyway, I had 15 minutes to go in and get my clothes or whatever belongings that I have, and this is a one-time deal. So I hurry up and grab what I could. So with this said, I have to go back and file my own injunction in order to get in. In the meantime, because he filed the first injunction, he was allowed to break the law. And he was still calling my daughter and telling her and trying to tell me to come so I could get locked up again. But I wasn't that stupid to listen to that. So, as I said, I know I had to stay away and do this legally by the courts. Again, I am trying to let my single people know, my couples know, if you're in an issue of domestic violence, battery, you don't have to be in it. Find a safe place. I know I'm talking about relationship, but also it turns into domestic battery. So if you're in it, find you a safe place, a safe haven to go. It's best to be safe, especially if you have children. It's best to run and leave everything behind, and you know your life is spared, your children are safe, than continue to be in a relationship that you're being abused verbally, mentally abused, and physical abuse. I want to say something that I read on also and found. Yes, if you want to say I'm advocating for domestic violence, yes, I am. I will be an advocate for it because it's sad. It's sad to see. And as I said, no relationship should get this far where someone is mentally, physically, or verbally abusing you. It's not right. Don't stay there and die. Don't stay there and take this. I read on domestic violence, how it's increasing. And for women, mostly, is women that get abused. What I read, it says, how does domestic violence increase the risk of women who have experienced domestic violence or abuse? It's at a significant increase. It's significantly higher. Woman is at a higher risk, basically, they're saying, of experiencing different range of mental conditions, such as, they said, PTSD, which stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. The second one is depression because of domestic violence. The third is anxiety disorders. And the fourth, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because I myself suffer with anxiety at times, and I also have major depression. So I do feel it for those out there that are going through it. And again, the fourth is suicidal thoughts, or thoughts of suicide. So again, and the fifth is because of the abuse and they don't know how to cope, they fall into these categories. And the fifth again is substance abuse, drug abuse. Again, if you are there and you're in a situation like this with any domestic abuse, there's the National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is 1-800-799-7233. That's the National Domestic Hotline. They do also have local hotline. I just wanted to encourage everyone that are watching this. This is real. As I said, I am presently, being healed, and I refuse, as I said, to go through anyone abusing me. And again, I just want you to pray ahead of time if you're Christian, asking for a relationship. As I said, my husband was an usher. He ushered in the church. That doesn't mean just because they're Christian mean they are complete mentally or emotionally, because my husband did not get healed from his past relationship, past marriages that he had. So he brought it in the relationship and abused me. He had problems with health issue. He had health issue problem. I was blamed for it. The past relationship, I was blamed for it. With his son that he have, being ungrateful, he said to him, I was blamed for it. So everything with his past relationship or anything that was going on, I get blamed for. I was the one who was getting the blame. Again, in you searching for a relationship as singles, make sure you watch for the red flags There are many, many red flags. I will continue this. Again, it looked like it may go into a third session of free will. Again, because of that free will, I let him go. I let him go. I wasn't going to continue. I let him go. I release it. But again, I will come back. There are red flags that you have to look out for when you're seeking or into a relationship. I'm talking also to my married couple. Communication is key in your relationship. You have to talk, you have to communicate, you have to try and find ways to work things out. But if it become into physical or domestic and counseling doesn't help, both of you need to get out, or someone need to get out. Again, my single people, look for the red flags. Follow your gut feeling. Pray. If it doesn't seem or feel right, walk away. But again, I'm sharing from my experience. I'm sharing this with you to encourage you. I know you probably thinking it doesn't sound like there's hope. Yes, there's hope, but people have wrong motives sometimes. They don't realize they have wrong motives. They cannot be the actors and actresses forever. The true person will come out. And these are some of the red flags that you have to look for. Again, this is the end of the session. It's very interesting. Please chime in. Let me know what you think. And as I said, the next time I will come back with talking about red flags, what to look out for, before you jump in. Or if you're in it and you're seeing red flags and the abuse starts, to get out if counseling doesn't work. Again, this is Angela, your host, chiming out for now and letting you know that there are relationships out there that you'll find. So don't think it's not. Again, this was part 2 of free will relationship. And again, the title was, what would you do if this was you? Chime in and let me know on YouTube. Chime in if this is interesting and you would like to hear more of this type of teaching. Again, just chime in. Again, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. It's Thanksgiving Eve, so I'm wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving with your loved ones and your family. This is it for now. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you again soon. Have a good night.